Alright, well, we're live now. Let me just go to YouTube and grab the link. You might hear yourself talking for a second. Or a few. Well, really only me, because I'm the only one talking. So, I guess don't worry about it. You're going to hear my fat trap talking, probably. Well, really only me, because I'm the only one talking. There you go. That was me. I guess don't worry. Couldn't get rid of that screen fast enough. And as usual, the thumbnail for this link will probably feature the three of you looking normal and me looking like I'm passing out, as these things usually go. I'm just going to text this to myself. And podcast again. The first minute or so of the live viewings are not thrilling, but alas, they are what they are. Oh, how cute. It's right there. Look at that. If you can see me looking down, copying links. Dave, do you think the Raptors are really going to boycott Game 1?
No.
I don't think so either. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised with how active Jaylen Brown and the Celtics are too. If the Raptors decided to, I'm sure the Celtics would too.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Celtics at some point did something.
Yeah, me neither. All right, let me post this link. Talking top 10 Disney songs with Emily and it's okay. That's weird. Didn't want to do that. And there we go. All right. Well, that's tweeted out. Now just Facebook, and we'll be all set. Oh my god, we actually all look pretty normal in the thumbnail. Emily's pushing her hair back, but Shannon's looking straight. I'm looking straight. Dave looks like he just received confusing news.
That's my confused face. I'm pretty good at that.
It's pretty spot on. All right, well we're live and tweeted out the link to everything, so now it's just time to go. All right, let me get the old GarageBand going. If you're watching this on replay, do yourself a favor and skip to about 3 minutes. I say that 3 minutes in already. So don't skip to 3 minutes at this point. All right, we're good to go. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Welcome in to episode 166, 7. I should probably have looked that up before, but it's episode a lot of them. It's Crossing State Lines. I'm Jake, joined as always by my co-host with the co-most, Stonehams greatest, Stonehams finest, Stonehams best Spartan, Dave Albiani. Dave, what's up?
Not much. Just waiting for Luka to drop another 40 piece tonight on the Clippers. As we all know, Luka is amazing.
Yes, Dave. You right now are the leader in the clubhouse in our debate from last year. I took an L in that game. All right, Luka's a great player. He's fantastic. Hit a great shot. One of the best playoff shots I've ever seen. But you know what? Great player. Like you said, he's pretty good. I would buy stock in him now if I were a casual NBA fan. I think he's pretty good. But yep, probably gonna drop another 40 piece because that's just how Luka Doncic is. But as much as I would love to talk, and I know as much as you would love to talk about Luka Doncic for the next hour, we're not going to do that because we are going to talk about Disney songs, which is what the title of this episode says. But we can't do that alone because I'm a big Disney fan, but I'm not the biggest of all the Disney fans. And I know that you're not the biggest of all the Disney fans either. But we have two enormous Disney fans who are going to kind of lift us up from the bottom, from Hades' pit of Disney knowledge to, I don't know, the Mount Olympus of Disney knowledge. First off, I think our most frequent guest on the podcast, joining me from 10 feet away in the bedroom, Emily LeBlanc. Emily, what's up?
Hey.
No, it's about right. Also joining us from not 10 feet away, more like 7 or 8 miles away, is Shannon Fitzsimon, the other biggest Disney fan I know. Shannon, what's up?
Not much. Happy to be here. Disney is one of my favorite things to talk about, as most people know. So let's do it.
That is correct. This is definitely one of Shannon and Emily's favorite things to talk about is Disney. And that is really all we'll be talking about today, unless, as we always do in the show, we diverge into something else nonsensical. But anyway, the way we did this was each one of us ranked our top 15 Disney animated songs. Everybody sent that over to me. I did the composite math and made a top 10. Did a point system. If you rank something first, it gets 15 points, seconds 14, so on and so forth. It's a lot of math, but it's worth it in the end. So there were a lot of songs here. By my count, it was something like maybe 30, 32 songs between the four of us. And like I said, only 10 of them ended up making the top, 10, as you can read. So we might as well just dive right into it. I have all the banners set up for it on StreamYard here, so I will hide the initial one and show the next one. So we'll start with number 10. And number 10 was, let me just double check here. It was 4th for Dave, it was 9th for Shannon, and did not make my list, and it did not make Emily's list. And that is Hakuna Matata, which is from The Lion King, obviously. If you've been living under a rock, it is from The Lion King. Look, it's not even in my top 3 favorite Lion King songs. It's a great song. Don't get me wrong. It's a great motto. It's a great song.
What is your third top Lion King song if it's not Hakuna Matata? What's left?
Well, I can't really say that right now.
Okay, I'll ask that question again later.
But I would probably have the song that I know Dave has ranked ahead of it on this list, ahead of this one. I would have the one that I only had on my list ahead of this one. And I would have, never mind, we'll get to it. But I do like Hakuna Matata. It kind of just speaks to the overall strength of Disney, of The Lion King and what songs it has to offer. It's just not my favorite. I like the end part with adult Simba. I like that part better than the beginning part. It's good, but it's just not one of the best to me.
It's so good though. It's so uplifting and fun and
it's a Disney song. They're almost all uplifting.
Hold that adult Simba thought for 1 second.
Okay. All right, Shannon is clearly getting something.
probably a poster or a stuffed animal.
It's Matthew Broderick. She brought Matthew Broderick in the podcast. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
The
So,
reveal.
one of my new favorite things to buy in Disney is prints.
Oh wow.
And this is
That
my
is a
most
great
recent
shot.
one.
That's a
Which
great shot.
happens to be, it's not in a frame yet, so it's a little bit glary, but adult Simba from Hakuna Matata.
For those of you listening to the podcast, not watching, that was the print of when Simba, Pumbaa, and Timon are in the montage of him growing up, and they're walking across the tree with the moon lighting them up in the background. So it is one of the best shots of the song and of the movie. I don't know. It's just not my favorite one. I like it. If it's on, I'm not going to skip it. But I mean, it's just not one of my favorites. But that's just me.
I don't know. I think it's great. As a kid, I still remember watching that and then rewinding and watching it again. So I still think it's one of those things that made me smile a lot as a kid. So it's up there for me.
I think it's a good song, good mantra. It's a good, feel-good song. Doesn't ever really put anybody in a bad mood, I don't think. So it's, I like it.
Well, I know Emily agrees with me. Didn't make her list either. No, she did not.
Sorry.
I can't blame you. It's not. I mean, again, we'll get into later on what my favorite songs from The Lion King are. But Hakuna Matata, not one of them. Anyway, that is number 10. Next up is a song that only makes the list. So the way I did the points, there was actually a 3-way tie for 9th place. So that would mean that the tiebreaker ultimately would get 9th place. Then the next one gets 10th. And then, unfortunately, the third one is knocked off the list entirely. So that would mean that number 9, the tiebreaker, ended up was by virtue of the fact that Shannon had this ranked higher than Dave had Hakuna Matata ranked. So this song is 3rd for Shannon. It was 10th for me. It did not make Dave or Emily's list. I'm guessing the former is because you have not seen the movie, Dave.
Yeah, I haven't seen Frozen.
That would
Or Frozen 2.
excuse me. It's Frozen 2.
I said Frozen or Frozen 2.
Is Lost in the Woods, which I feel like, as I said to Shannon off air, is like the biggest surprise to me is that this made the top 10. And obviously a big reason why is because Shannon had it at number 3. I love this song, and I was saying to Emily last night, I think, and she disagreed with me on half of this, but I think Frozen has the better story, but Frozen 2 has the better music.
I agree with that. I think especially coming from the standpoint of it's mostly for children, I think the plot of Frozen 2 is a little bit too complex for kids to understand, but I do think the music in Frozen 2 is better.
Yeah, I laughed my ass off in the theater when Olaf was saying all the names and he says Samantha and he goes, "Wait, I don't know it's Samantha." One of my favorite. That's the line, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
You scared me there. I
I almost ranked this song, and now I wish I did.
Well, if you did, it would have probably still been in 9th place.
Yeah.
It
But
was really hard to pick. Like there were so many that I had on my list that I had to knock off because I didn't just fit in the top 15. But for this song, I don't know. I love Jonathan Groff, and the fact that he got his own like solo full song in this movie, I think was awesome. I mean, he sang in the first movie, but not really.
yeah, it's true. He's saying in Reindeers Are Better Than People, which is like 30 seconds long.
Yeah, and that's like
Is that it? Is that
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
that's it. So I feel
Well,
like Disney really felt the need. Yeah, I mean, he's Jonathan Groff, so he needed to have some kind of singing, I think. And so why not give him this like awesome soft rock kind of ballad song?
He's the king. He's King George. He's got to have
That's great.
the spotlight. I absolutely love the scene in the movie where this song is performed. I mean, it has the feeling of like an early 90s like really soft pop ballad, and he's using nature as like the microphone and like all the natural lighting and the fact that all the deer are like backing him up it is one of my favorite performances in a Disney movie for sure. And I thought it was the highlight of Frozen 2. I know that there's definitely some disagreement there, but I thought it was the highlight of Frozen 2. I liked Frozen 2. I think again overall that Frozen is the better movie, but I'm definitely going to listen to the soundtrack of Frozen 2 more than I would Frozen 1.
I agree with that.
I know I could see Emily grinding her teeth because she hated Frozen 1 and she liked Frozen 2.
I just don't like Frozen. I think the hype of it was just so much. I don't know. I just couldn't catch on to it. But I really do like Frozen 2, and I was actually very surprised at how much I enjoyed it.
I will say, even though Emily says that, when I told her I hadn't seen Frozen yet, after it came out, she was the one that was like, "You haven't seen Frozen yet?" And we watched it at your house, Emily. So tell me how much you hate it now. You also fell asleep and I finished the movie by myself. But
That's how much I hate it.
I mean, Olaf's great. You gotta love Olaf. He's fun.
I never said I didn't like Olaf. I love Olaf.
Dave, have you seen either? You haven't seen either one of these movies?
I haven't seen either one.
I think it's worth a couple, like 3 or 3.5 hours to sit down and just hammer through them.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't
just
know.
think about all
You
of
might need to
the.
rewatch The Curse of La Llorona. You might need to rewatch that instead of watching a good animated movie. You rewatch the schlock you watch.
Think about the cast of Frozen, though. You have Jonathan Groff, you have Josh Gad, you have Idina Menzel, and you have Kristen Bell. Like that right there is a home run for a cast. So
It
I
is a
can
good
see how the music, and not necessarily the story, but the music from Frozen and Frozen 2 at least has gotten as popular as it is just from the actors and the singers alone.
No, it makes sense, and it's also great that all of them are good singers. You don't have any Russell Crowe Les Miserables situations where they're like just grinding through a terrible performance. They're all really good, and it's an all-star cast, especially for a musical. And I don't know. I really wouldn't rewatch either of them right now if I could. They're probably not either in my top 10 actually Frozen might be close to the top 10, but I'd have to recalibrate those rankings. We've done that before. I'll have to redo that. But Yeah, no, I mean I like it. It's good. It's a good song. Congrats to Frozen 2. It won't be the last time it's mentioned on this. Well, it is the last time it's mentioned in the top 10, but it will not be the last time it's mentioned on this episode. Moving on, we have number 8, which sure to start a little controversy because it was number 1 for my beloved co-host, Mr. Albiani. Number 8 for Shannon. So much like Hakuna Matata, this only made their list. It did not make my list or Emily's list. And that would be coming in number 8, The Circle of Life. So, Dave, we'll let you kick this one off. Your number 1.
I picked it because I think when I think of Disney movies, this is the first song that comes to my mind. I think it was, as a kid, I used to play this song nonstop in the car with my CDs. I had the Tarzan CD, the Lion King CD, and the Aladdin CD. And I used to play Circle of Life all the time. How do you not? I mean, I get if it's not your favorite, but how do you not have it in the top 10 to 15 songs? That's crazy.
I agree. I feel like when you think of Disney songs, whether you like it or not, it has to be one of the first ones that come to mind. Like whether it's your favorite or not, I don't think that matters as much as whether it pops in your brain right away.
Exactly.
That's fair. That's fair. But just because it's the first thing that comes to mind doesn't mean it's good. I mean,
okay.
It's the first
So you
example
don't like
that
it?
comes to mind, but I mean,
So you don't like it?
the first thing okay, I like The Circle of Life. It would be my number 3 on that Lion King list. It is not good enough, obviously, if you looked at my top 15 to make the top 15, if that was the case. But if it was like a top 20, it probably would have. What was that?
That's a crime.
It's not a crime, especially when you put not 1, but 2 Jungle Book songs on your list. So
Jake, your list is just odd. So that's all I'm
Burn
going to say.
necessities.
Yeah, Dave, your list was odd, even though my friends, including Shannon, said your fantasy stream was better than both mine and Emily's. But whatever, I guess Dave's
No,
list.
Jake, I think your list is odd. You
Oh.
have some really weird songs up at the top there.
How is my list? What do you mean I have weird songs at the top of my list? Most of my songs. Okay, I know which one you're talking about, and don't worry, I will be defending the honor of my number 2 song because I think you're all out of your fucking minds. But anyway, except for Emily, she did put it on her list.
I don't even think it's just the songs at the top. I think some of the ones you have even towards the bottom. Interesting choices.
I mean, have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon? Like,
I'm not talking about that song. That song was on my list too.
I know that was only on your list because it says Bobcat, and that's a Quinnipiac thing. So I know
That's not the reason.
I can't believe, we'll get to that. I really don't. I can't take the slander right now. It's just trying to distract me from the fact that you guys put Circle of Life so far up on your list. I think that's what you're trying to do, is distract me. But the Circle of Life is great. It's a great song. Like I said, if it was like a top 20 list, it maybe would have made it in that scenario.
Maybe a top 20, not even definitively.
What was that? Yeah, maybe is
Maybe.
right. Maybe.
Oh,
I mean, there's a lot of great Disney songs, man. You know, I had to cut Hercules songs. I had to cut Aladdin songs. I couldn't put 5 Hercules or 5 Aladdin songs on here.
I will say I put Bare Necessities on there just for you, Jake.
Bare Necessities is the better song of the 2.
I put Bare Necessities on my list as well.
The only song I accept. The King Louis song, I know he's just trolling me.
Oh my god, both songs I was like, I gotta throw 2 on for Jake.
I'm surprised nobody put any Peter Pan just to send me through the roof. Emily, your favorite movie, I think, right? It's either
One
that or
of them.
Cinderella. It's Peter Pan.
It's one of them.
Yeah, Peter Pan never been a favorite of mine. But anyway, well, what can I say? All right, so
Good movie.
So it's a good movie. It has not aged well at all, not one bit. But anyway, number 7. This one is the first one that made 3 lists and inexplicably did not make Shannon's. This was 6th for Emily, 7th for me, 10th for Dave, and like I said, Shannon, coming at my weird list, did not have Be Our Guest, which is one of the greatest spectacles in a Disney movie. And for some reason, Shannon, not on your list.
No, it's not on my list, and I actually don't like.
But not Be Our Guest.
Don't even like this song, and if it comes on shuffle on my Disney playlist, I will skip past it.
I'm surprised.
Wow.
I just don't like it, and I think it's annoying, and I think that Lumiere singing just really, I just can't listen to it.
I will say this. I do. I think I actually like the live action version more, just because
That's crazy.
Ewan McGregor's like, you know, a trained singer. But although I think it's Jerry Orbach is the one who does Lumiere. If it is him, rest in peace, major rip to Jerry Orbach. But I love Be Our Guest. I think Be Our Guest is, and I know I'll get disagreement from, I know especially Emily and Shannon, because I think this song was higher on their list, but it did not make the top 10. The way you feel about Be Our Guest, Shannon, is the way I feel about Belle.
No, I love that song.
I don't care for it. Like, I don't care for it in the live action and the animated. And I know that certain friends of ours love Belle, and that you do too. And every time it comes on in the car, I'm just like, all right, well, 5 minutes to myself. But it's
not even the Emma Watson version.
The Emma Watson version's worse, so no.
No.
Again, not really a singer.
Well, that's true.
Now I know Emma. I know you're watching. I know you are. But don't tune out. We love you on the podcast. We're big Harry Potter people, and by we I mean Shana and Emily. But anyway, yeah, Be Our Guest is great. Yes, there's some parts where the singing's not great, but I think it's just the pace of it is so good. And Angela Lansbury is Mrs. Potts. She's great. She's great. Really good singer. But I mean I just don't understand how you can't like Be Our Guest. It's like Dave will get the reference. It's like Schindler's List in Seinfeld. How did oh no, I'm sorry, The English Patient, not The English Patient. I'm thinking of The English Patient. How do you not like The English Patient?
When Peterman fires Elaine for not liking it.
English Patient. I know this is falling on deaf ears for Emily and Shannon. But anyway, yeah, Be Our Guest.
I think how I feel about Be Our Guest is how you feel about Circle of Life.
That might be true.
It's a fair point.
Except I said it might make my top 20, and I don't think Be Our Guest was coming anywhere near your top 20.
No, it probably would be in my top 20 just for the fact that it's like one of the most popular Disney songs ever. So I would have to at least give credit where credit is due. I just personally don't enjoy it at all.
We're pausing and adding 5 songs to each of our lists. We'll be back in an hour. But Emily, I think you had this one the highest. It was 6th on your list, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
I don't even know.
It was 6th. I got it in front of me.
Yeah, no, that's pretty high. I don't know. I just really like this song.
I mean, me too. I love Be Our Guest.
When I think of Beauty and the Beast, I kind of think of Be Our Guest more than I think of Beauty and the Beast song. I don't know why. Maybe just because it's a fast-paced type of song. But I did see Beauty and the Beast at Theater by the Sea, and that was my favorite performance that they did was Be Our Guest. It was so good. So maybe
I do feel differently about the live stage version of the song compared to the animated version. Like, I would much rather watch the entire scene of them doing it live on stage than watch it in the movie or listen to it just on its own.
Well, if you hate fun, I'm sorry, but Be Our Guest it's just a lot of fun. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of fun. Speaking of
the Circle of Life hater,
it's not. Circle of Life is like a nice build-up song. The end has a great crescendo, but Be Our Guest is like 5 minutes of nonstop fun, or 4 minutes, whatever. All right, so moving on to number 6, and the way we go at Shannon for having Be Our Guest not on her list, we'll be placing that on Emily now as we get to number 6. This was 5th for both me and Dave. It creeped into Shannon's top 15. It was number 12 for her, and somehow did not make Emily's list. Would be Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid. So I love Under the Sea because Sebastian's one of my favorite Disney characters, especially side characters. That's an episode for another day. But I love Sebastian, and he's obviously the lead on this song. And I love the rhyming schemes in this song too. The fact that they kind of just roll everything together, and it's got also incredible rhythm to it. It's all around a great song. And you want to talk about recognizable Disney songs? Is there a more recognizable, other than maybe the Circle of Life with the yelling at the beginning? Is there a more recognizable 3 or 4 seconds to begin a Disney song, other than Under the Sea?
Arguably, probably not.
Like you hear and you're like, oh, well, I know that one. And the Circle of Life, to its credit, also has that going for it. Where like you hear the yelling, and you're like, okay, well, I know that song, obviously. But Emily, you need to speak for yourself.
It's just, I'm not saying it's not a good song. It's a great song, but out of all the Little Mermaid songs, probably very bottom of the list. I like a lot of other songs much more. So, and I think I've just overplayed this song to myself. So if it's kind of like for Shannon, like Be Our Guest will come on, she'll skip it. I'll most likely skip this one.
Wow, that is disappointing, but it's okay. Wow, I'm shaken by that. You made
It's a good song.
You made me forget what I was gonna say next. It is a good song, that's for sure. I mean, it is. I mean, I can't wait. There's got to be at some point in the show, someone's just got to go after one of the picks and just be like, I wouldn't even have it near my thing. I hate that song. It's my least favorite. But
Did
anyway,
I not just do
Yeah,
that
I have
about,
one of those.
about
You're
Be Our Guest?
Be Our Guest, you said it might make your top 20.
Yeah, but 20 songs is not. It's not like
20
it's. I don't know.
I mean, 20 songs isn't bad. I mean, it's still like, oh, wow, top. I mean, all the songs Disney has released in movies, like 20 is pretty good. But 15, I feel like is a good number. That's why we settled on that. But I do love Under the Sea. Dave, you and I both had it pretty high up on our list.
Yeah, I like it. It's just a good song. I like the choreography with it. With the animated version, I haven't seen the live action. When they haven't made one yet, right?
No, but is it on Broadway? Is it showing like a musical too?
I thought they made all the Disney ones.
Still
on Broadway.
is, but I think it was at one point.
So yeah, it's been performed before in live time, but now the movie hasn't come out yet. Still, I mean, it was supposed to be filming, but everything
Yeah,
else.
who was cast as the lead?
Oh God, it's
Leah Michelle.
Haley Barry or something like that. It sounds like
That
Halle
sounds
Berry,
familiar.
but her name is like Haley Barry. She's
Leah Michelle was going to be in that.
no.
Leah
Maybe
Michelle?
early. No, it's like oh my God, what's her name? I can just look it up because I have a computer right here. It's Halle something because she's in that group, Chloe and Halle. Halle Bailey. Halle and Chloe. Let's see, what is her name? I'm sure someone's screaming it right now.
Probably more than one person.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's Halle Bailey.
Halle Bailey, thank you. Yes, she is the one who'll be playing Ariel, and I don't know if they've cast. I don't know if they've cast Jacob Tremblay is supposed to be Flounder. Aquafina is supposed to be what's the seagull?
Scuttle?
Scuttle. Thank you. I think she's.
And they cast Melissa McCarthy. They cast as
yes,
Ursula.
she's Ursula. Thank you. That's right. Thank you. And I think they were supposed to cast Harry Styles, and they backed out for Prince Eric.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he backed out. I think he just said no.
That's true, because the initial report was that he signed on, and then he just said no. Thank you. That's an important distinction. Yeah, he didn't back out. He just said no. So they still have him, and then I don't think Sebastian's been cast either, even though Emily's dying to see Titus cast as Sebastian.
Oh my God.
That would be great.
Could be.
I
Should give you residuals if that happens too. You've been calling for that since they announced the movie.
think they did like a one night maybe type of thing in Broadway. I know he was cast as Sebastian. Like,
Well, remember they did that one night live performance.
no, that wasn't him. Wasn't that Shaggy?
Yes,
That
it
was
was.
Sebastian.
And John Stamos.
John Stamos was
Jeff,
the
right?
Yeah.
That's so weird. That was such a weird.
According to IMDb, they cast Keith Powers as Prince Eric. Don't know who that is.
Sounds
And-
like news that broke in March when people weren't paying attention to anything else anymore.
They cast Idris Elba as King Triton
Oh.
and Ziggy Marley as Sebastian.
Interesting.
I don't know who that is.
Interesting. Well, there you go. Under the Sea, soon to be performed live action on your movie screens in probably 4 or 5 years when we're allowed to go back to the movies. Well, that's Under the Sea. Moving on. We are into the top 5 now. At number 5, another one that I am at a loss for words with Shannon, but it was second for Emily. It was third for me. It made Dave's list at 13, and somehow did not make Shannon's list. Would be Friend Like Me, which is from Aladdin. And I think that Robin Williams as the genie is the best voice acting performance I've ever seen in my life. He's fantastic. You can feel the energy in the room when he's recording it. Like you can feel that he's just kind of all over. I mean, it's how he always was. Major rest in peace to Robin Williams. Yeah, it was just the anniversary of his death the other day. But he's just fantastic in the role. He is one of the main reasons it's one of my favorite movies in Disney history. And Friend Like Me is that centerpiece of the movie. I know that there's a lot of great songs from Aladdin, and spoiler alert, we'll be talking about Aladdin again in a few minutes. But Friend Like Me, I think, is kind of that great spectacle. There's a couple of great spectacles in Aladdin, but I think Friend Like Me is just the slightly better one because of how much Robin Williams is putting himself into it. And that's why I love it. I think it is, as I put on my list, one of my 3 favorite Disney songs ever. I love it.
I don't really have a good reason as to why it's not in my top 15. It would definitely be in my top 20 if we went all the way to 20, but I think I just don't know the music from Aladdin as well as I know other songs and from other movies, and so it's not one of the first songs that pops into my head.
How was it on Broadway?
Really good.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard the Genie on Broadway is very good. You said that.
Yeah.
Dave, this barely made your list, but it still made your list.
Yeah, I like this song. I think it's not as good as another song we'll talk about later very soon.
Yeah, very soon.
That I had a lot higher, but I don't know. I put this at 5, but I mean I put it at 13, but so it kind of just snuck in. I don't know how much I like it now. Like a lot of the songs I put on this list, I judge based on what I thought of them as a kid and how I like them now. I'm not sure how much I like this song as much now.
Emily, this was just like me, very high on your list.
It's a good upbeat song.
It's very, very upbeat. I love the kind of the jazzy swing feel to it, and
we used to have the Aladdin video game. I don't know if it was like Nintendo. I don't know the game system, but the old one used to blow in the carton to get the dust out. But we had the Aladdin video game. This was the best part of the whole entire video game was when it was Friend Like Me, and you had to jump on like little cloud balloons. It was my favorite part of the video game. But it's also probably one of my favorite parts of Aladdin. Aladdin has really good music.
And this song's also real short, too. It's like 2.5 minutes long. It's not very... Yeah. It has great music. Aladdin, really not a bad song in the songbook. I mean, I think most of the songs from the show made the list in some capacity. I don't think there's not a lot of songs, but all of them are good songs. So Friend Like Me. I mean, while we're talking about Aladdin, we might as well just move right on to number 4, because number 4 is A Whole New World, which, if you guys look at the top 10, you will notice that it is the only ballad on the top 10. The other 9 are pretty upbeat songs. Spoiler alert for the top 3. But A Whole New World, to me, definitely, let me pull up the rankings here where it was. Didn't make Emily's list, but it was top 10 for me, Dave, and Shannon. Dave had it 2nd, Shannon had it 7th, I had it 9th. So I think it is an exceptional ballad. It is a beautiful landscape in the movie. It's a great shot. I mean, they even replicated it very well in the live action. But in the movie, it's another one of those songs that's not too long, but it gets the message out very well. And it's insanely memorable. I mean, you could put the song on now, probably would know every word to it. I mean, I think we've sung it many times before in the car, both Emily and Shannon. I think that it's an insanely memorable song. And I think I have to look at my list again, but it's definitely one of my favorite Disney ballads ever. And it's one of the best songs they've ever made, no doubt.
And I think it's one of those songs that, Disney fan or not, like even if you're not a super huge Disney person, you'd recognize it and likely know some of the words at least. Like you would hear it and think, oh yeah, I know this song.
Yeah, it's really just very peaceful to listen to. Like it's very soothing, and it's very even as a kid, it's just very easy to listen to. It's not super upbeat like the other songs, like Jake said, but it's still one of the better songs that you can put on, and people, like you said, Shannon, people will know the words, at least part of it.
Yeah, it was number 2 on your list, Dave. Very high. Silver medal.
Yeah, I really liked it. I used to play it all the time. There's one song on this I didn't put on my list that I think Emily had on her list, but I used to play one of those songs all the time. I can't believe I put it on my list. I didn't think about it.
I'm guessing it's one of the 3 songs we have left to discuss.
No. It was way lower, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we'll get to it. If we don't, definitely bring it up at the end. Emily, this did not make your list.
No. And I know I just said Aladdin has good songs, but this is probably on the bottom of the list for Aladdin songs for me.
Now that is a hot take. That's a very hot take. That almost blew me out of my seat. Damn it, people can see us. I forgot. Usually people can't see us. That is literally, it blew me off the track of where my mind was going next.
I think once again, though, it's just my own fault. I think I've just overplayed it too much.
Well, what if I told you I could show you the world shining, shimmering, splendid? Would that change your mind?
A whole new world.
Oh my god. Is Leah Salonga in the room with us?
I mean, she may very well be.
Behind you, Dave?
A whole new world.
Dave, we can when karaoke's a thing, we'll hammer that one out at some point.
Jake, there's nothing that's gonna hammer out my voice. I'm sorry.
That's what.
There's nothing that's gonna help me with that song.
Don't worry,
We can rehearse it as much as we want. It's not gonna get better.
You can sing the Aladdin part. I'll sing the Jasmine part. I'll hit the high notes for you.
I definitely cannot hit the high notes.
Don't worry about it. Or you know what?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we'll make it work. Don't worry about it. When karaoke starts up again in 2026, we'll make it work. All right, so that's a whole new world. We're getting into the top 3 now, and it is back to who is going to get harassed this time. Oh, it's Shannon.
It's me. I know it's me.
So number 3, this was number 1 for me and Emily, and I swear to God, we can conspire on this.
I think that's how it made it so high on the list, because it was number 15 for Dave, so it barely snuck onto his list.
And it did
I'm
not
disappointed by that.
make it. I think Dave just did this for me, but it did not make your list, Shannon. And that is Zero to Hero, which is from Hercules. This is probably the quickest in and out great song that Disney's ever made. I know I said that about Friend Like Me, but this song is like barely 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And there are so many words to it that even I've listened to the song a billion times. I still flub it every now and then. I love this song. Clearly, it's my number 1. It's my favorite Disney song. But I think it's because it's got an incredible like gospel rhythm to it. And again, the words are great. The rhyming is great. And the sequence in the movie is also fantastic. So I've always loved Zero to Hero. Hercules is my favorite Disney movie, so that probably has an impact on it as well. And Hercules, Sneaky, has some of the best Disney music ever. Talk about a movie with very few weak links on the soundtrack. I love Zero to Hero. And Emily, I know you did too, because it's also your number 1. And we did our best to push it up the list as far as we could. But unfortunately, Dave and Shannon made it go from Hero to number 3.
Hercules is not one of my favorites, so I didn't even have any songs from Hercules on my list. I don't really have anything to say about it. It's a fine song.
Sure I have.
A great warm welcome is not waiting for you. That's for sure.
I guess not.
It's a good song. It's a good song. It's just, I don't know. To me, it's just okay.
It doesn't make you want to dance, Dave?
No,
No,
I don't want to break up my smooth rhythm.
Oh my god, I love it. I think it gets me up my feet every time. It's such a good Disney song. I just love Disney songs to get you moving. Clearly, that was my number 2 is also kind of like that. Even though nobody else apparently enjoys fun in this this Brady Bunch style grid we've got going on here. Emily did it.
I had that song.
You did have that song. That's true. Just like Zero to Hero, you had this song. Great song. Great one to get moving to. I've always loved it. And Hercules, I get why people don't like it, because it's not. I mean, there's some lulls here and there. But I really don't like applauding this person because they're not a great person anymore. But James Woods as Hades is also one of the best voice acting performances like ever. Fun fact, as if people haven't heard this one enough, James Woods, alumnus of Pilgrim High School, where Shannon and I also went to high school. James Woods,
That's true.
one of our big 3 alums, up there with Chris Terreri, Stanley Cup winning goaltender, and Dan Wheeler, former pitcher for the Rays and Red Sox. Those are our big 3 up at Pilgrim
That's
High.
it. They're basically the only ones.
James Woods was one to be proud of, and then he went insane. So, so Hades, fantastic character. I will say it is interesting that Hercules is one of the few Disney movies where the villain doesn't sing, although that's probably a good thing, because I don't think James Woods is a very good singer. That's just my guess. But it is interesting how that is one of the few where there isn't a villain song, which Disney almost always has a villain song. But yeah, so that's Zero to Hero. And that brings us to number 2. Which who's getting it now? Oh, it's Emily who's gonna get raked across the coals here.
It couldn't even be on the top 10.
Yeah, right.
Like, sorry, that's
So
What?
this was 4th for me, 4th for Shannon, 6th for Dave. Did not make Emily's list, and it got to number 2 by 1 point.
Emily, what?
This is the only song from the movie that made any of our lists, and that is "I'll Make a Man Out of You" from Mulan. I like Reflections. It's a good song. It's not one I'm gonna like listen to over and over again. Like I'll listen to it maybe once, and I'll be good for like a while. "I'll Make a Man Out of You" is such a classic. I can't believe there are people that don't think so, Emily. But as much as like it's weird that Donny Osmond's the one singing on it, I don't know why that never struck me until like I looked at the thing. I'm like, oh, it's Donny Osmond. That's weird. But it is a fantastic song. I mean, talk about a great beat, a great rhythm. The words are insanely memorable. Pretty much everybody knows it, love it or hate it. It is that I think it's the one song from Mulan that everybody remembers. And Mulan's in a special case where like I couldn't tell you a lot of the plot of Mulan. Like obviously I know that she joins the army under the guise that she's a man, all that stuff. But
That's the plot.
I mean that is
Nailed it.
that's the plot. I couldn't tell you the details of what happens after that. I know she fights.
She's a badass.
She's a badass. I know that part. I couldn't tell you the villain's name.
The Huns, dude. The Huns.
The
They're all
villain,
villains.
that central Hun. There's the central one that is the big villain. I know it's the Huns, Shannon. It's in the song. It was on my list. I know it's the Huns. The first line of the song is "Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns." I know.
That's true. That is the line.
But God, the audacity. But yes. I couldn't tell you a lot of the plot details of Mulan, but I know that this song is still a banger.
I mean, I don't know of a better Disney song to just like scream in the car to. I feel like this really takes the cake for that.
Emily, you want to state your case here?
I just don't enjoy it. I don't know why. Like when I think of Disney songs, I don't really think of this as like a top 10 Disney song. I don't know. It just doesn't jump out to me as like a big favorite, a big song. I don't know.
Oh man, come on! You don't get going when you hear you must be swift as a coursing river. With all the force of a great typhoon.
No.
It's a great inspirational song.
It is. I'll give you that, but it doesn't really do anything for me.
I didn't even know the Bruins scored a second goal. That won't take this at all. I didn't know that was how the Lightning scored. I'm like, oh my god, they're down 2-1. I was like, no, they're not. Sorry, that was insanely
It's
off.
2-2 now.
I know it's 2-2. This is Dave and I getting off the path. That's what we usually do. But yeah, I love "I'll Make a Man Out of You." I mean, it clearly was one of my favorites, one of Shannon's favorites. Dave, have you spoken to it yet? I don't think so.
I mean, I like it. It's one of those songs. I think it's the only song I liked from Mulan when I watched it. I actually think Mulan's very underrated as a Disney movie in general. I thought it was a really enjoyable movie, and she's a badass, which is awesome. But I think this is probably for me definitively a top 5 to 6 song in any world that I'm like. If you have to make a Disney playlist and put 5 songs, name them off the top of your head, this is definitely one of the first 5 that comes to mind.
Did you draft this one?
I think I did, yeah.
I think you did. Yeah, that was one I was disappointed I didn't get in the fantasy stream. So that's "I'll Make a Man Out of You." Before we get to number 1, let's do some honorable mentions. There are a ton of them, so we can't even do all of them. But we will do most of the ones that got reasonable votes. So the first one is "Remember Me" from Coco. That was 11th for me, 14th for Emily. I love "Remember Me." I think Coco is, talk about underrated Disney movies. I think everybody should see Coco. One of the few movies that have made me cry. It is fantastic. I highly recommend it, and I love "Remember Me."
I agree. It's a good movie and it's a good song. It's just for me not one of my top favorites, but I do like it.
Emily and Shannon, you both had "I See the Light" from Tangled on your list. The only Tangled song that made anybody's list.
Well, I mean, what other song really would you put from Tangled?
What's the, I like the one where they're in the pub. What's that one?
Oh.
All I can think is "Mother Knows Best," and that's not it. So
I'll
I
have
hate
it like
that
that
song. I hate that song.
I have a dream. I've got a dream.
Yes, that one. Yes.
Yes, that's it.
I like that one.
I've
Oh,
got a
it's
dream.
an opening song.
That's probably my favorite Tangled song. I See the Light. This one made Dave's list. It was number 8. You've Got a Friend in Me. Dave, good song. Only, as we talked about off air last night, the only Randy Newman song either of us can stomach.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good song, and I like it because it just reminds me of the first Toy Story movie, which I think is, to me, unparalleled. I think it's the best Disney movie, or best Pixar movie. But I just think overall, like we said, it's the only Randy Newman song you can actually stomach and actually listen to the full way through without getting annoyed.
Also, Dave, you're not alone in number 8 songs not being on anybody else's list. I had Be Prepared from The Lion King, number 8 on my list. Be Prepared is by far the best villain song in Disney history. You could take your Poor Unfortunate Souls, you could take your Gaston, even though I had Gaston on my list as well. You could take all those. You can give me Be Prepared, because Be Prepared is such a good song that Jeremy Irons blew out his vocal cords on one of the last lines of the song, and Jim Cummings had to finish the song for him because he was so dedicated to it. Great lines, incredible beat to it with the drums. I love Be Prepared, and I honestly, I will not stand for any slander for Be Prepared. I won't take it. I won't be here for it. Won't do it. That's right, because everybody's afraid to slander Be Prepared, because they know. They know it's great.
For me, it's a skip song. Like, it's not even one that I listen to.
Me too.
Shame.
I think it's a good song.
Shame.
Like,
You know-
Lion King is my favorite Disney movie, and I could take it or leave it. Like, I don't have any special feelings towards it whatsoever.
Great song. Also, Emily, you had 9th, and I had 15th on my list. You're Welcome from Moana, which I love. The Rock, who would have thought, actually carries a tune.
I do enjoy most of the music from Moana, but I went with how far I'm actually wearing a Moana shirt right now. Fun fact.
Shannon dressed for the occasion.
And Moana is up there, tied probably with Lion King for my favorite Disney movie, but I don't know. I just felt like there were other songs that were more deserving from a Disney overall standpoint to go on that list.
That's fair. I this was more personal for me because I think it's probably my favorite song from Moana. And I like Moana, don't get me wrong. It's not one of my favorites, but I do like it. I mean, the worst Disney movie is still not, at least recently, the worst Disney movie isn't a terrible movie. But I like Moana a lot, and I think You're Welcome is probably the most invested of any of the songs that I get into. But Emily made your top 10.
Yeah. And it's funny, though, because remember, I was saying to you, Jake, that I think I want to change my list around. This was one of the songs I was actually thinking about changing. I was on the fence between this and Where You Are from Moana. I think that might be my favorite Moana song. But there's just something, I'm not a huge The Rock fan either, but there's just something about the catchiness of this song that I can't turn it off when it comes on. And I just catch myself singing along, and I'm just like, oh, no, here we go. But
that sounded like Coolio in the Keenan and Kel open. That's all it made me think of is the Coolio part from Keenan and Kel. Shannon, this was number 5 on your list. Would be Show Yourself from Frozen 2.
Yeah, this is my second favorite song from Frozen 2, but it's also just one of my favorite Disney songs. Right now, I think it would depend on when you were asking me what my list would look like. I think it would change around a lot, but I just think Idina Menzel in this song she just kills it. And so
that's like fill in the blank. Idina Menzel kills it. She always does.
I know, that's true, but I don't know.
She's in.
This song is it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that commercial, as you know, Shannon, that commercial has been stuck in my head for like 5 days. But I have to ask Shannon, Frozen 2, Lost in the Woods is number 3 for you. Show Yourself's number 5 for you. Where does Frozen 2 rank in your favorite Disney movies?
It depends, I think, on whether you're asking me about the entirety of the movie or just the music. Because the entirety of the movie with the plot, probably doesn't make top 5. But if we're talking about soundtrack, I would say it would be top 5.
That's fair. It wouldn't be in my top 5, but I think it definitely has some very good music. Like I said, music in Frozen 2, I think, is better than Frozen 1. Dave, devastating Dave. Number 3 on your list did not make anybody else's. Was You'll Be in My Heart from Tarzan. Dave, a big Phil Collins fan.
I am. I love Phil Collins. I love the Tarzan album. I used to listen to this album all the time. The one song I was talking about earlier that I probably would have put on my list was the one Emily had on her list at 15, Strangers Like Me. I think that's like a good song.
It is a good song. Tarzan is I know Emily probably doesn't agree with me, but I think Tarzan's a dramatically underrated Disney movie. I think
the soundtrack definitely is.
The thing about Tarzan is that it really doesn't have many big stars in it. Like Rosie O'Donnell, like Glenn Close is a big star. That's good. Tony Goldwyn is like not like I feel like he's not like a household name. Like he's a big name, but he's not like Brad Pitt or something like that. That kind of works against it. But Phil Collins being attached to the soundtrack is obviously beneficial for him and the movie. I like You'll Be in My Heart. I think it is one of those cases of the most popular song is the best song from the movie, and it is. I mean, You'll Be in My Heart is the definitive Tarzan song. Like that's just kind of how it has to be, at least in my opinion. But yep. So Emily, you also had your number 3 song not on anybody else's list. I will say, if we did a top 20, I Won't Say I'm in Love from Hercules probably would have made that list because it was one of my last cuts. I do love this song. It's again a really quick in and out song, but the groove to it is very good.
I mean, I even had Go the Distance. Hercules is one of my favorite Disney movies. Can't beat the music, I feel like, in Hercules. I Won't Say I'm in Love. I love Meg. I think she's awesome. She's fierce. I just love her, but it's just a good, catchy song again. I don't know.
My Little Nut, Meg. No, I love Hercules. I Won't Say I'm in Love. Again, really quick. It's got a fantastic rhythm to it. The lyrics are very good as well, and it's I like how it ends, the way it ties it all together. It's a very good song. Also, with 13 points, which is what it was those past 2 ones, but the tiebreaker was because Shannon and I had it on 2 lists as opposed to 1. It was 6 for Shannon, 13 for me. It's Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas, which I believe is the only Pocahontas song that made the list. And it deserves it because it is the best song from Pocahontas. And I watched Pocahontas for the first time a couple of years ago. And I don't think I loved the movie. But Colors of the Wind is like undeniably a great song.
I just watched Pocahontas again recently within the past few months. And I think it really aged well. Like, I think a lot of the themes from Pocahontas are still true to this day. And I think even a couple of the biggest lines from the song are still true. And unfortunately, I think they're still applicable to what's going on in the world today. I think not much has changed in that sense.
Shannon, did you ever take an Insta and post it with the cap, like with that big Bobcat statue of Quinnipiac, and post it with, have you ever asked the grinning Bobcat why he grins? Have you ever put that caption?
Missed opportunity, man.
Really was. I mean,
I never did.
Really was a missed opportunity there. But probably the thing that's aged worse about Pocahontas, a lot of stuff has aged not great, but the worst is probably the fact that Mel Gibson was in it at all. But Pocahontas overall, decent movie. But Colors of the Wind, undeniably a great song. The highest ranked song that was not on anybody else's list was How Far I'll Go for Moana, which was second for Shannon, but failed to make anybody else's list.
I mean, like I already said, Moana is probably tied for my favorite movie, and I don't know if it's the most popular. It's probably not the most popular song from that movie, but for me, it's just my favorite.
Well, I would say it's definitely the most popular song from that movie. I would say definitely, yeah.
I don't know. I think You're Welcome is a pretty close second, but
yeah, I suppose.
I don't know. I love the themes of Moana and how it is about her being her own hero and she doesn't need anybody else to do things for her and whatever. And so I think that song really encompasses that and shows that you don't know how far she's going to go. She's going to do it all herself.
It's true. It was also, I believe was it performed at the Oscars? I believe it was performed at the Oscars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nominated. Fantastic performance too. I will not do the disservice to that young lady by mispronouncing her name and butchering it, but she did a fantastic job.
No, I won't. either because
do a disservice. So it's a very good song. Again, it's maybe not my favorite song, but if we're talking Moana, I think it's definitely the most recognizable and the song that came out of it. You're Welcome's up there as well, but I think How Far I'll Go is definitely the trademark Moana song, and the message is very good as well. So 3 songs that came very close to making the top 10. First off, this was my number 2. It was 13th for Emily. Did not make Shannon or Dave's list. Would be Eye to Eye from a Goofy movie, which I can't. I mean, this might just be me, where I think pound for pound song wise, it is a fantastic song. Kevin Campbell is amazing on it, and the performance in the movie is great too. I know we're not really ranking that, but the performance is amazing in the movie, and it is talk about one of those songs that it should be credited more than it is. And just from the opening synth, and it's just such an all-around great song. And it feels so quick when it really is like 3.5 minutes long, but it feels way quicker than that. I love it. And also Powerline's a great name for a musical artist. I wish somebody actually adapted that before they took it for a Goofy movie. But I love Eye to Eye. I think it's such a good song.
I don't have a single thing to say about
I've never
that
even
song.
heard.
You never heard of the song or the movie?
I've heard of the movie, but I've never heard the song.
Well, you're missing out on both because they're both fantastic. But Emily, at least I know you can sympathize.
It's a good song. It's very catchy.
I was expecting, wow, Jake, what a great song. You are.
I mean, I definitely wouldn't have it top 5. I mean, I think there's better songs than that, but
Serenity Now.
I tried to make a kind of. I tried not to repeat songs from movies, but then I lost that with Hercules. But I tried to kind of go from different movies I like favorite type of songs instead of kind of just bouncing off. Because I would have had more Aladdin, which I wish I had done, but I was trying to bounce off different movies more of my favorite songs. So.
I tried to do that as well because when I first made my list, it was like only a few movies and basically the whole soundtrack for those movies. And so I tried to kind of limit myself to no more than 2 songs per movie to get a little more variety in there.
Yeah, I tried my best. Looking at my list, I don't think I repeated all that much. Hercules, I definitely did not repeat. What did I did repeat? Oh yeah, I did go. Yeah, I had that one. Yeah, I tried not to. I did have a couple of repeats, but I mean, if it's a good song, it's a good song. I can't really hold myself too accountable for that. But just a couple more. This one was 4th on Emily's list, 10th for Shannon. Did not make the list for me or Dave, and that would be Belle from Beauty and the Beast, which missed the top 10 by 1 point. So, and it wouldn't, even if it got that 1 point, it would have still lost the tiebreaker to Hakuna Matata. But if it got 2 more points, it would have made the top 10. Unfortunately for Belle, she did not.
This, I think, is my favorite song from that movie. One that I love singing. And I don't know. I enjoy it.
I think this is one of my favorite opening songs kind of for a movie. But my favorite part is all the villagers and then bouncing back and forth and all the different voices. And I think that's the best part about it is that you kind of get introduced to a little village and you kind of see how Belle's a little different than them all. And I think it's entertaining the way that they interact with each other.
Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. I know that part. I know there's something about a baker baking bread or something, right? I don't really know the words to it.
No, there's something about a baker with eggs.
See the something with the something. Yeah, okay, never mind.
Okay.
I
think
know that's the thing.
No, there's
See the something with the something, right? No?
I think Shannon froze.
Shannon might have frozen. That's okay. I did hear Mike go the sound that a mic makes when it freezes.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're back. You're back. You were talking about
I think I did freeze, but there is
you were talking about how you were wrong
the
about
baker.
put Eye to Eye in your list. That's what you were talking about.
No. I was definitely saying that the baker has bread and rolls to sell.
There we go. Thank you. Yes, that's right. So Belle, and then finally the song that, by virtue of tiebreaker, missed out on the list entirely. Technically, I mean, it is our number 11 song. It was 6th for me, 7th for Emily, and shamefully did not make Dave or Shannon's list. Shannon and Dave hate upbeat, inspirational, I can do it songs. Would be Go the Distance.
If I had to redo my list, I would have put this on there.
If what?
I don't know what I would. If I could redo my list, I would have put this on there. I don't know what I would trade out for it, but I do think it deserves to be on there at some point.
Even if it got number 15 on your list, because it would have made 3 lists, it would have made the list and kicked off Hakuna Matata. So thanks a lot.
Well, sorry.
Well, I do love Go the Distance. Clearly, it was my number 6 song. I'm trying to think, where did I put Whole New World? Okay, so I put Whole New World number 9. So I would say Go the Distance is a better ballad song, but especially since it's just one person singing as opposed to 2, so he's got to do more of the work. I really love this song. I think it's phenomenal. Roger Bart, the guy that sings it, he's very good. It's just such it actually like makes you soar and makes you think you can kind of do whatever you want, and I love it. I love the message it sends, and I mean, yes, it's sung by a demigod, and he obviously has a lot going in his favor, but it's very upbeat, very inspirational, and I like that about it. So that's why it makes my list so high.
That's the same thing for me. I just like the message behind the song.
I do have to say, Shannon, was it you that made the Jeopardy that time, and you put the Michael Bolton version of this song, or was it Ariana?
It was not me. It was Ariana.
It was Ariana, because we were doing like a film Disney lyrics, and I was like, those lyrics are not from Go the Distance. I know every word to that song. You used the Michael Bolton version of the song.
Yeah, that wasn't me.
Damn it! I could have done it too. But anyway, all right. So that does it for the honorable mentions, which means
can I just point out that Shannon had a song on her list that I would have put on my list if I had known that we could have put it on my list, and that is the Happily Ever After song for the fireworks show.
Jake already had to make fun of me for that earlier today, and I said, well, you did say it had to be animated movies. However, when they play that song, it's a compilation of like every Disney animated movie ever. So
you have a point. They do.
That's why I decided that it could be allowed on the list.
The only reason
I was like, Jake, I want that song.
I love
the only
that.
reason I was cool with it for the most part was because I was like, all right, well, it's not going to make the top 10 anyway, so like, who cares? Let's just let it on.
But if Emily had put it on her list, it might have made it up there. You never
Even
know.
if Emily put it number 1, it would not have made the list.
Okay.
But I'm just saying. But that's a good segue into what the only song that made everybody's list. So it worked out. It was number 1. It was Shannon's number 1 song, Dave's 7th, Emily 8th, and it did crack my list at 14, which put it literally just over the top, even though it would have won the tiebreaker anyway. But the only song that made all 4 of our lists was I Just Can't Wait to Be King from The Lion King, which I'll admit is a little bit of a surprise to me that was number 1. So that would mean The Lion King had 3 of the top 10 songs on the list. And honestly, that's not an issue because The Lion King is one of the best Disney movies ever made. Probably the best Disney movie ever made. If you're looking at it objectively, it's probably the best Disney movie ever made. And the fact there's 3 songs from in the top 10 is just more evidence of that.
And I think even that there were other songs that didn't make the top 10, but that were on people's lists.
Yeah.
There's just more evidence to that.
I just think the scene in the animated movie, it's just so like aesthetically pleasing when the song is on.
Mm-hmm.
So I give a lot of credit for that with the performance. And this is my favorite Lion King song.
Mine too. Well, I mean, it was my number 1 song on the list overall, so it's my favorite Disney song now.
I think you make a good point too, Emily, is that it looks like gorgeous. Like it's so colorful and it's such an amazing spectacle. And that was one of the big things the live action movie couldn't live up to. It couldn't make it like look like that. And it kicks off it pulls you in right with that beat. And it's not a long song, probably 3 minutes long. And I love how it kind of crescendos with all the voices, literally as it builds up all the animals, it builds up the song. It's fantastic. I mean, there's no way you can't at least have it in your top 15 like I did. It was top 10 for you and Dave, Emily, and then it was obviously number 1 for Shannon. So no matter where you have it, it is definitely one of the best Disney songs ever. And like we've said, it just speaks to the excellence that is The Lion King. It is It is the GOAT of Disney movies, probably. It would. I think we've done this. I'm trying to think where I put The Lion King. I think Lion King is number 3 for me. Yeah, I think I would have Hercules 1, Aladdin 2, and then Lion King number 3. But even I think most people would at least have a top 3, if not it's their favorite movie of all time.
It's
For
not even in my top 5.
Oh dear God!
Oh,
Well, I did say most people. I didn't say everybody.
okay.
But you at least have to say it's a good movie.
Oh, it's definitely in like my top 10, but not my top 5.
Still good.
I was obsessed with Lion King when I was little.
So I had the VHS in those big booklets. I had the VHS of The Lion King and the VHS of The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride,
Oh, I had that one.
which possibly is the best Disney sequel, other than Frozen 2 is probably definitely the best Disney sequel. But Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, close second. Close second. Anybody remember the name of the boy lion cub? Come on. It's a good trivia question. I know Dave doesn't. He hasn't seen Lion King 2.
I want to say it starts with a K.
It does start with a K.
I want to say like
Come on.
Keanu or something.
Oh, it's close. It's Kovu.
Mm.
Kovu's the
Wouldn't
name.
have got that.
I was
And then-
close.
Oh my God! What was the name of Simba's kid? I already forget. It's like
Simba Jr.?
Nala's his wife or whatever, the lion wife. What's her name? Kiara? Not Kiara.
No, isn't Kiara his mom?
No. What's oh my God! Begins with an S.
No, it is Kiara. Sarabi is his mom.
Is it really Kiara? I pulled that
It
one
is
right out.
Kiara because
Are you kidding
Sarabi is his mom.
Sarabi, yes. I only know that because Scar yells it right before Simba sees him on Pride Rock. But anyway, so that's number 1. So just to recap the top 10, you have number 10, Hakuna Matata. Number 9, Lost in the Woods. Number 8, The Circle of Life. Number 7, Be Our Guest. Number 6, Under the Sea. Number 5, Friend Like Me. Number 4, A Whole New World. Number 3, Zero to Hero. Number 2, I'll Make a Man Out of You. And number 1, I Just Can't Wait to Be King. Dave, I just realized we didn't let you say anything about I Just Can't Wait to Be King. What do you got?
I mean, I like it. I like most of the Lion King songs overall. Hakuna Matata is still one of my favorites, even if other people don't like it, except Shannon. I just think it's such a fun song, and it's not going to win awards or anything, but it's a fun song, and I think I Just Can't Wait to Be King is not the song I would have thought that would be number 1, but it's still a very good song.
It sure is. And really, we all learned something about ourselves here today, didn't we? What songs that we think aren't good that really are good. You, Dave, Emily, and Shannon probably really thinking about that. Me, not so much, but I'm sure the 3 of you are thinking about, wow, what songs I could have put on my list but didn't. Anyway, that'll do it.
I know what Jake's thinking. He's thinking, man, I wish I snuck on a few more Jungle Book songs.
It's a damn shame we didn't get to talk about the Jungle Book songs, Dave. Really,
Bare necessities.
real. We actually had that one down.
Dave,
right?
I had Bare Necessities on my list too.
Thank
That is
you.
a good
Thank
song.
you. That is a good song.
Yeah, it's a good
I
song.
agree.
It is. It is. I don't know what you. I know you put. And you even said you put the second one on just to troll me. So I know that.
I did.
Right.
I did.
That being said, let's start with Emily. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Emma_Lee_.
And Shannon, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at sfitsimon, which is SFITZSIMON, for those of you who can't spell words that are spelled exactly how they sound.
No bitterness there. Dave, where can we find you?
At David_Albiani.
I am at Jacob_Morocco, the podcast, the CSL podcast on Twitter. You can email us, crossingstatelinesPod@gmail.com. Nobody emails that, but if you want to, go for it. Go ahead. Why not? You can find us we're distributed by Anchor. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, a lot of other places you get your podcast. Just search us somewhere. I'm sure you'll find us. But we will see you guys. If you're watching this, we'll see you tomorrow for Jeopardy. If you're listening to this, we might see you Thursday for the All Wars Red Sox team. But if you're listening to this at some other point, just go find the next episode and listen to that one. And we'll see you when we talk to you. Let me end the broadcast. Thanks for watching.